What gradually disappeared without anyone noticing? Story 1. Coins on the sidewalk. Reply 1. There used to be this rocky part of a park that I could always find quarters in. Each time we visited, I would spend a lot of time rummaging through those rocks just to find a couple bucks worth of quarters. I made up stories in my head about how a truck full of quarters must have crashed there years ago and they just never picked them all up. As I got older, I lost interest, but that place was always magical to me. Turns out my dad was dropping quarters in there when I wasn't looking, because he knew it made me happy and kept me busy. Reply 2. Find a penny, pick it up, all day long you'll have good luck. I deliberately put any pennies I get in change on the ground. I don't know anything else I can get for a penny worth more than giving someone else good luck for a day. Plus, you supposedly get back threefold what you put out into the world, so I figure some of that has to reflect back on me. To be clear, I don't actually believe the world works this way, but again, what else am I gonna buy with a penny? Reply 3. Speak for yourself. I work in a place that's practically made of coins. Every crack in the wooden floor has a penny in it. There's a dime under every shelf. They're investing the place and multiplying. I swear that's how my bosses get through the lean years. They just shake the store down. The town is the same way. You walk down the sidewalk and oop, there's a nickel. Oop, there's a penny. Maybe it's the people who live here, but the coins never left. Reply 4. It's going to vary from person to person, but I find more. Not coins, but cash. I carry cash so rarely that it ends up slipping out of my front pocket with my keys or phone on the rare occasion that I'm carrying it. Usually I'll notice it, but not always. I'd figure most people under 30 are the same, using only NFC payments or cards. I only keep a wad of cash in my car for emergencies. Story 2. Ownership. You pay a subscription. You can't fix what you own because it's proprietary. You can't buy outright. Our ownership of things has become a rental service where they can break or completely remove what we purchased without consent at any time, because it was in terms of service. Reply 1. I will defend physical media until my dying breath. It's awful that we let people trade our ownership in exchange for convenience. Reply 2. I bought Mean Girls on Amazon Prime. They took it down and re-uploaded it months later, but removed the English audio track, so the only option was to watch in German. And I would have had to buy it again. This was the day I realized how freaking stupid not owning a physical copy of anything is. Reply 3. That's another reason to buy physical media. My favorite show in the world is Scrubs. I learned that the music they use on the show for streaming was different from the original release because of copyright issues. Anyone who watches that show knows the music is the most charming part of the show. Now I'm working on owning all the seasons. Reply 4. It's a double-edged sword for me. I too like physical media, especially because movies will often have a director's commentary and other special features that don't exist with streaming. But the flip side is how often formats are upgraded for better video and audio. I've got movies that I have on multiple formats. VHS, DVD, DVD Special Edition, Blu-ray, Blu-ray Special Edition, then with Dolby Atmos Remix, etc. The amount I've spent just upgrading my favorites is daunting. If there were an equivalent to the Criterion Collection in a streaming format that continually maintained the latest upgrade and all extended features, I'd gladly go with that. Reply 5. I lost much of mine recently when I lost my home, and I'm mourning so many of my books. I had one on the power of rivers informing civilization. It cost me over $50 and is insanely useful. One is about organized crime that I've never found a copy of in actual bookstores, only online. Several are manuals on things I can't get my hands on in physical form unless I buy directly, and the suppliers or authors no longer sell. I got them secondhand. I can rebuild, but like thousands of dollars. Many of them were for niche subjects I couldn't get good info for online. It upsets me how much knowledge was lost because I lost a library of less than 100 books. I've decided that if I buy more physical books, I'm going to back them up both digitally and physically. Take notes, put them on my hard drive, but also in paper form. Pray I don't have another house light on fire and get condemned, especially now that my digital material is under fire. Reply 6. I hate how everything is turning into a billboard now too. Oh, you've owned your TV for 2 years now? Well, we just ran an update to show you commercials during the screensaver mode. Want no ads? Well, you need to pay more for that. Loud AF video ads on gas pumps, ads on apps that you've used for many years that didn't have them before, but now all of a sudden they need them for revenue. More and more ads before movies. I keep setting my Alexa Echo Show to not show ads. I literally wanted the show versus another dot because I wanted the clock that displays. Now, most of the time when I look at it, it's not the clock. It's ads. Every time I fix the settings, they must send an update or something because then ads start up again. Leave me the hell alone in my own home. Definitely getting rid of the Echo Show, BTW. That's utter BS. I wanted to finally get myself a Kindle last year. Now those have ads. You have to pay extra to not have ads on the freaking device you buy and own to read a freaking book. I feel almost paranoid anymore, like I have a stalker, and I just don't know where they'll spring up next, deep tight, and their intentions are not good. I'm getting really freaking sick of it. I'm already stressed out enough as it is, but now I just feel surrounded and harassed by so many ads trying to get me to part with what little money I do have. Honestly, I think the constant ads are lowering at least my quality of life. I feel more and more like the regular working class is being treated like a herd of cattle, and not as real people. Edited to add, how could I forget to mention websites with ads? Just about every single website is so packed with ads that they render the site almost unusable. Ads popping up while reading the news. Websites needing to reload repeatedly because of some glitching ad error. Ads taking up so much screen space that you can only read a few lines of whatever you are reading at a time. X buttons to close the ad windows are so tiny that you risk hitting the ad itself, and then you get redirected to a new site. I swear, there also must be a way that some apps and sites dial up the ad sensitivity to touch to 1000%. You just brush that ad with your finger while you scroll and boom, it opens up. It really makes being online such an obnoxious experience anymore, or using apps a chore. I've been getting more and more avoidant of being online, which I guess isn't a bad thing overall, but still, the internet used to be a pretty fun place to be. And then there are the ads that are sponsored content on Google results, Amazon results, etc. Amazon is obnoxious because those sponsored products just keep showing up repeatedly as you scroll through products. It's like they pop up after 5 actual search results over and over and over. And in the FB marketplace, ads that lead to other websites are getting harder to detect from actual things individual people are selling. Reddit has gotten bad about making ads look like they are actual posts or comments. Did anyone else notice the recentish addition of ads disguised as comments that are just mixed into comments, rather than just the first comment? That is sneaky AF. I'm going along reading comments, tapping the top of the comments to shrink them when I am done reading it. And then I accidentally will hit the top of an ad comment, and instead of shrinking like actual comments do, it takes you to a different web page. I know this was 100% their intent too, to trick a person into closing up comments as they read into hitting the ad. It's so sneaky and just gross. I guess ads must still work on a lot of people, or they wouldn't be pushing out so many anymore. Who are these people who are driving more ads by responding to them by buying products? So much so that ads just continue to litter every aspect of the world around us anymore. Or maybe the problem is that ads are not working as well as they used to drive up sales. And that's why they're finding new ways to force us to view these ads. Okay, sorry, I just need to let it all out. Story 3. Mid-career jobs, the great flattening. Reply 1, yeah, to add to this, climbing the corporate ladder has seemingly disappeared as well. I don't know a single one of my friends who has actually been promoted. If they ever move into a higher position, with better pay, it's because they switched companies. And then we get scrutinized by our parents for our lack of loyalty. Reply 2, the lack of promotions and raises absolutely drives me nuts. My last job was very confused and upset when I left because I did so well. They liked me and I got along with everyone. They requested an exit interview, so I did one. I was very blunt. Promotions were strictly limited to once every 2 years. I had tried to negotiate a higher raise as a stopgap, 7% instead of the typical 3%, which would have put me in the middle of my salary band, but was flatly denied. I asked what the incentive was for me to go above and beyond when 3% was the ceiling. I then explained how frustrating it was that I hadn't asked for that much, and that I was asking for average compensation for objectively excellent performance based on their performance metrics. I asked them to explain to me how it made sense to deny that, given that now they were going to have to spend at least 5 months searching for a replacement, based on how long it took to find me, given how uncommon the combination of skills necessary for this job was. That they were going to take 3 4 months to get up to speed, representing a total of 8+ months of lost productivity. And that, assuming my value added to the company was equivalent to my salary, it was going to cost 10 years of the raise I asked for just to get back to baseline. They had no response. This happened at my first 2 jobs. It shouldn't be this freaking hard to be rewarded for doing well at your job, especially since it's cheaper for the company than hiring externally. Reply 3. I'm in that position with my employees. It sucks, and I'll support them if they need a good recommendation for a different job. But my organization gives me a raise budget of 3%. I know how much it would cost to hire someone new. I want to pay them more money. I'd rather take some of our tech budget and just give it to my team. But there's no avenue forward with my org's policies. 3% budget for raises and promotions max out at 7%, or to the minimum amount needed to have them reach the bottom of the salary band. Reply 4. I'm very sympathetic to your position. Believe me. In my first job, it was an organizational thing. We had a flat organization. I spoke directly to the people who did have the power to do that, and they went full shocked Pikachu.jpg when I resigned. My previous job, and my current job, had managers in your situation. The previous job that I wrote about in my post was more of a trying to make it very clear for those in power why this team was going to be screwed for the foreseeable future. My current job actually came through on giving me a promotion followed by a sizable raise. A big part of that was that one, I had a manager in your position who wanted the best for me, too. I made it very clear that it was a make it or break it for me, and 3, she knew it wasn't empty words given I'd worked with her at my first job. And I felt really bad for my manager because I consider her a friend. The prospect of me leaving was very stressful for her, and I knew she was doing everything in her power to help. But it was completely out of her hands whether she was just screaming into the wind or not. Reply 5. My brother is an IT guy and asked for a 4% pay bump. They said no. He left 2 months later for a job that paid 17% better. He left that job for another one a year or so later for another roughly 25% better pay. 3 years went by at that job and he asked for a 10% bump. They said no. The first job was hiring for the same role he had worked there, originally at his current salary. They were never able to fill it with someone permanently. In 5 years he'd been gone. He said, give me 10% more than he was making and negotiated a built-in 5% raise every year and got an exit severance package. They hired him back and he's still there? The board directors of the company cringe when they hear his name. They likely lost over $1 million in productivity and hiring people to fill his role temporarily by refusing to give him a 4% raise like he asked. Story 4. Small independent hardware stores. They used to be a small-town staple, especially in the Midwest. Almost everyone used to be the oldest business in town, having been open since like 1895. Now, they're all mostly gone, and your only alternative is a big box hardware store or ordering on Amazon. It's incredibly depressing. Reply 1. A lot are Ace Hardwares, though, which isn't as good as individually owned, but much better than a standard chain, or big box stores as they're run a lot more like independent stores. Reply 2. Ace Hardware * is * individually owned, though. They operate as a sort of independent owner co-op type thing, so that they can buy things in volume like Costco, in the same sense that your local restaurant probably buys a bunch of supplies from Costco. And share marketing. The 1960s local hardware store might buy an ad in the newspaper to advertise a sale on gardening equipment. An Ace affiliate store contributes the same amount of money to the co-op who buys a nationwide TV ad on it across all the stores, e.g. Reply 3. Ace Hardware's co-op has actually been acquiring stores. They currently own several hundred, so most Aces are locally owned, but some aren't. My local Ace is part of a chain, Great Lakes Ace, that was partially owned by Ace for years until they recently bought the entire thing. Reply 4. I've looked into that, and the vast majority of stores currently operated by AC were either 24 months from going under, or the owners were looking to get out and had no interested buyers. Our local Ace-affiliated hardware store has been owned by the same family going on 5 generations now, with no signs of going under or impending sale. It's not a perfect solution, but it's better than no small hardware store at all. Reply 5. One in my town has been shut down since I was a kid. I went in there twice in the last few years. Both times the old dudes behind the counter were complete assholes and acted like I was stupid because I didn't use the correct name for things. Started going to Lowe's and Ace after the second time and about a year after they closed. Screw those old pieces of crap. You knew what I meant when I said wire cap instead of wire connector. Reply 6. You should have said wire connector, WTF, you mean a wire nut, idiots? Yeah, some of those guys can be ridiculously condescending, and some can be patiently helpful, spending 20 minutes to find a 29-cent replacement gasket for a 1953 Crane faucet. The small stores usually have either all friendly, avuncular employees or all crusty, condescending jerks. It's like they've honed their employees to be one or the other since 1950. It's a rarity when anybody knows anything at Lowe's or Home Depot. I treat those places like the NYC subway. No eye contact, just keep walking to the electrical section and find it yourself. Reply 7. I went to Home Depot looking for a replacement cartridge for my shower faucet because it was leaking. I even took the old cartridge to the store with me and thought I had it figured out. Some employee comes up to me and asks if I need any help, and I tell him, I think I've found the part I need, but I'm not sure, since I've never done it before. He told me it most definitely wasn't the part, and then explained how I was going to have to redo all the plumbing and replace the faucet. He took me to the shark display to demonstrate all this extra work I was going to have to do. After listening to him go on for about 15 minutes straight, I said thanks, waited until he left, and then bought the cartridge that I was originally looking at, installed it myself, and stopped the leak. Like, if I can't trust an employee with something that simple, why would I even bother talking to them at all? Story 5, 24-hour businesses. COVID killed them, and it seems a lot of them aren't coming back. Reply 1, COVID didn't kill them. It just accelerated plans already in motion. For example, Walmart had been slowly moving away from 24-hour stores for almost a decade. Thanks to COVID, they were able to swiftly finish the conversion. Reply 2, I feel like everywhere important closes by 6 or 7. I basically have to ask off work an hour early at minimum if I need to get something done because I have to factor in travel time in a major city, and I'd like to go home and change if I can. I work construction, so I'm super gross sometimes. Reply 3, that is a good thing. Working those jobs sucks ass. I prefer the Europe, at least some countries, model of taking into account the employees' lives for your operating hours. I was walking around in an Italian city not too long ago on a Saturday and commented about a store being closed at 2 p.m., and my companion said something like, the workers have things to do too. They'll be open again at 4 p.m. That struck me as eminently reasonable, and a significantly higher quality of life than the 3 a.m. grocery store worker had. Reply 4, I'm incredibly lucky that a local grocery store in my medium-sized 70kk people city has stayed open 24 hours, even through COVID. I have non-24-hour sleep-wake disorder, so I'm equally likely to be awake at any hour, and being able to go grocery shopping as easily at 3 a.m. as 3 p.m. is amazing. Really easier since the store is delightfully empty. I don't see how they make money between midnight and 5 a.m. But man, am I grateful they haven't budged on it. I guess the couple asterisk that owns it got their start in the 50s in a 24 hours market niche, were successful, and stuck with it. Edited. To add, I guess I should say woman and son, her husband died in 2019 at 95, and the son is now the owner. Rabbit hole, they also seem to be rare, generous millionaires. Got their money through work, not inheritance. Working in their stores themselves until retirement, and occasionally at least until their 80s. I remember meeting Sherm stocking shelves as a kid. Donated $12 million to the Women's Health and Cancer Center at the local hospital, and give $5,000 a year scholarships for all local kids with a GPA above 3.0 to go to college. Wish I knew about that a couple of years ago. Reply 5. Good point, I'm pissed about this. If everything wasn't so crappy and wild economically right now, I'd say it'd be a good idea for some enterprising business owners to open stores with this specific bit of benefit as their advertising. Back in the day, I remember Wendy's, I think, being pretty popular with their advertising that they were open late in contrast with their competitors. Reply 6. I work overnights, and not being able to leisurely grocery shop at 3 a.m. on my nights off has been a real pain in the butt. I hate trying to shop when the store is packed with people, and you literally have to stand in line to get in an aisle to grab your item. However, I definitely believe I buy less stuff because I can't browse. Reply 7. We had a new CVS that when it was being built, one of the first things they put up was a giant 24 hours sign. It took them about a year post-COVID to acknowledge they were never going back to that and took it down. Sucks because drugstores are one of the few stores that sometimes you really need open at crazy hours. I remember being horribly sick in France on a Sunday once and I couldn't find an open pharmacy. I don't want to end up like that. Story 6. A real live person answering a business telephone, and if you don't believe me, press 5 to repeat this message. Reply 1. Alternatively, a customer service call that doesn't take 5 minutes to tell you how you can reach them on their website instead. I'm a millennial. Do you think I would be calling if I had any other choice? Reply 2. I accidentally locked myself out of my house a few weeks back, and I called 3 local locksmiths. One was automated, one didn't answer the phone at all, and the third was an actual human being who answered the phone. I gave my business to the third one. Reply 3. Want something hilarious on the reverse side? I do a travel-heavy job, IT services for businesses, and it's not uncommon for me to show up to locked doors for various appointments. Do you know how often people gave me the damn company helpline as their contact info? Damn. Guess you don't want your problem fixed if I can't get into the building. I'll try multiple entrances, and if they're all locked or have no response and I have no way to contact you, I'll wait by the main entrance for 20 minutes before leaving and sending an email. Also, who schedules appointments and then knowingly gives the tech no way to get in? Lots of people, apparently. I once showed up at a completely empty building. Had the guy say, "Oh, I thought you had a key already?" A surprising amount of businesses have no buzzer or anything. Reply 4. It's very freaking common. From experience in a different field that required access to locations where the equipment was located, I drove approximately 3 hours to a scheduled service. Come to find out it was set up on a day that the company had a retreat, and absolutely no one was there and wouldn't be. Welp, sucked for them. Turned out well for me. Reply 5. I'm paid by the hour, thanks for the free trip. Lol, that's freaking fantastic in a hilarious sense. I swear, some people think we're magic. Getting information or help out of anyone is like pulling teeth sometimes. Something people like to do to me is give me turn-by-turn directions instead of just coughing up the damn address. Or telling me they're by the McDonald's, like that means anything. My absolute favorite is getting annoyed when I ask any questions at all. Bonus points if I can't even duplicate the problem they're talking about, and then it freaking turns out it's only happening to one specific user, name not mentioned of course, when they were previously acting like it was the entire building. Story 7. Online spaces for kids. When I was a child, we had several online places made for children. Every single children's TV channel had a website with games for kids. There were several online games geared towards children, like Club Penguin, etc. Now, if you're a 10-year-old, you either rot your brain with crappy YouTube videos, or you rot your brain with social media. Reply 1. The death of Adobe Flash did a significant amount of that damage. I remember Pop Tropica was basically in a coma for years afterward while they scrambled to convert it to HTML5. Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network just never bothered switching most of their content, so those websites are pretty much dead. Reply 2. Yep. And then the people who reacquired those IPs, that is, Club Penguin, all ended up being pedophiles and got the whole thing scrubbed. We're limiting our children's freedom outdoors, so instead, they look for freedom online, and spaces made for them are dwindling. So they instead end up isolated, lonely, confused, and probably finding material they shouldn't access until they are far, far older. Reply 3. I miss Bearville from Build-A-Bear. Was it basically advanced marketing to convince children to get their parents to buy them more stuffed bears so they could follow your in-game avatar around and add space to your in-game house? Yes. Did it also have educational minigames, custom music, and a whole map I could explore? Also yes, and now it's gone. Reply 4. I remember Toontown when I was a kid. A lot of kids these days are playing Cookie Run Kingdom for their new social escape. My 15-year-old plays it, so I got into it. I think the worst thing to happen to online games is randomized loot boxes. Some guy can pay out the ass for something a lucky duck gets for $1. That's really why they aren't kid-friendly now. All about the extra buck. It's also really sad to see TV programming like Fox Kids, ABC One Saturday Morning, and WB Sunday Cartoons kick local access for basic cable as the times grew. My family had cable, but at the time, all the best shows for kids were on local access antenna, besides Nick. Reply 5. I am wholeheartedly behind the idea that children should not be allowed on the internet until at least 15, and even then with limitations. The internet has turned from a wealth of knowledge and places to gather to a walled garden of algorithms that do nothing but try to hold your attention and get that dopamine release so that you'll stay on the app for just a little longer. If it's making us as adults this crazy from feedback loops and echo chambers, imagine what it would do to some child who never goes outside and gets worldly experiences that are needed in development. I can tell you from my own experience growing up with the internet, my ability to comprehend and my attention have been impacted severely to the point where it's difficult for me to keep a train of thought. There are many reasons to not allow children online. The internet is a gross place built to make money and keep your attention and blast you with advertisements. Children do not need that. Story 8. Toys and cereal boxes. Reply 1. The devolving of toys and cereal makes me so sad. My children do not get to experience it. I remember the toy was on the top outside the bag, but buggers would open the box and just take it. Then they put it in the bottom under the bag, but they'd take that too. Then the toy was wrapped in plastic and put somewhere in the actual cereal bag. Then no toys. I remember color-changing spoons and the monkey-linking toys, but they were from the Jungle Book. Those were my faves. Story 9. The ability to read and comprehend something longer than a paragraph. Reply 1. I'm an English teacher, and this is a serious problem. I have several students who do badly at reading comprehension because article-sized texts are too long. These aren't lazy kids either. Some of them are very good at other aspects of their work. They all speak 3 languages. But by their own admission, they just don't read. I don't mean they don't read books. I mean they don't even read magazine articles, newspapers, or websites. They literally just read Instagram comments and the like. This is going to have serious consequences later in life when they go into higher education and they cannot study, or they try and get an office job that requires that they read reports or anything longer than a short email. Reply 2. Also an English teacher. The problem is that kids don't think it's going to be a problem for them because they'll be able to ask an AI assistant to summarize things for them. And they're probably right. The scary thing about this is that there won't be specific consequences for individuals. The consequences will be societal. Story 10. The convenience and accessibility promised by the internet of the 2000s and 2010s is gradually taken away from us. I bought a season of a show on Amazon a few years back, and they seem to have somehow lost the rights to the original, so now I can only access the dubbed version, which I don't like. The show now is only available on a streaming service that doesn't exist in my country, so I got a VPN, only to find out that I can't freaking pay for the streaming service without a credit card. So now I just ordered the box set again, like I would have done 15 years ago. It's not just the streamers. I remember when website loading times were the topic when talking about browsers, but now every website you open requires for you to take 2 minutes to close 5 legal questions and pop up, "Do you want to register horse crap?" with the X's hidden in different spots every time. There are ads everywhere, and even if you buy the premium version of things, there are still more ads within the content, all for crap you'd never buy. Places like YouTube remove functioning like and dislike features so that you can't tell what videos you can simply skip. Google also seems to be less efficient than it was 8 years ago, and finding anything online has become a chore. All new security measures they introduce just steal your time and life energy. You want to log into Netflix on your PC, but you can't, because it needs to be registered as a temporary device. They send you an email, but to open the email, they first need you to enter a code they send to your phone, which is in the other room. So you go get it, and once you've entered the code and opened Netflix, you forgot what the screw you even wanted to watch in the first place. Don't get me started on all the freaking updates everything seemingly needs to do every other week. Reply 1, 2FA is the absolute bane of my existence. I've turned them all off. I have my password manager, and my minimum character length for anything important is 32 characters. But I usually just default to 128 or the maximum length. I play one game that requires no more than 10 characters, but if that gets compromised, oh well. 2FA is a solution to a problem that has an even simpler solution. Stop requiring accounts and apps for everything under the freaking sun. Reply 2. My uni now has 2FA, and I can tell you it's absolutely lovely trying to get into the online exam site at 7 in the morning when you suddenly notice your phone just isn't receiving a code for some reason. Nothing beats a stressful situation being complicated by another absolutely unnecessary stressful situation. I need to log in with 2FA for everything there, even if I just want to edit some obscure group project Excel sheet and enter my work times. 2FA it is. It's exceptionally fun because I just got used to not taking my phone everywhere I go / turning it off, so I don't always have to be reachable. Reply 3. It's funny to me on the Google thing because every answer on Reddit is, did you try Google? And now I want to be like, yeah, I did, idiot, and it sent me to this Reddit thread. In fact, Google has become so unreliable that I actually use it more as a Reddit search feature to try and see if someone has had my question before. Almost always, yes. And what some of the answers were for it. Reply 4. It has been defined as N-shitification. I think it's a symptom of capitalism. We develop these services based on great, even amazing ideas. These companies struggle in the beginning, then they take off, hit their stride in a few years, and become the ideal version of what they should be. Then the boardroom morons sink their claws in and turn it all to complete crap by trying to grow into way more than they should be. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Twitter, Google, they all had a peak era of functionality where they were perfect, but it's never enough, and they start asking questions like, we know we exist to sell spatulas, but what if we also took over everything else in the world and then also the government? Enshittification. Like economic metastasis. Story 11. In the least sarcastic sense possible, critical thinking and self-reflection. It's really a struggle to engage with people these days who aren't capable of putting their bias and personal beliefs aside to think big picture or critically about any issue. People just jump straight to personal insults, fallacies, and the need to feed their ego. Reply 1. It's so hard to be a teacher right now. They literally wait for the answer. In an open book test the other day, I had a complaint that there wasn't a page number. There were only about 6 it could have been on, didn't want to look.
Thanks for watching until the end. If you have a similar story to these that you want to share with us, please leave it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.